Story 1. I couldn't handle his false reconciliation and ghosted. He started blame shifting and getting upset when I didn't just forgive and forget. He said all the right words, poured out crocodile tears, and begged on his knees for forgiveness. To be fair, he has done some of the work. He occasionally would text me pictures of where he is at, and would text me throughout the night. He would spend more time with me and listen to me cry. But he would also stonewall and get frustrated with me if I was having a rough day or question him. Slowly, the red flags started popping up again that he demonstrated when he was first cheating on me. Passwords changing, phone mysteriously dying whenever he went out, never leaving his phone around. My heart started sinking and suspected he was cheating again. He would explain these away and promise to me he would never hurt me again. I was in denial and had conversations over and over again with him respecting my boundaries, letting me know when he goes out, who he is with, and checking in with me throughout the night. Really freaking easy. On Friday night, he turned his phone off when he went out again, and all my calls went to voicemail until the next afternoon. I had a mental breakdown and realized I couldn't deal with this anymore. I was an anxious mess and was calling and texting him all night. I cried myself to sleep. His phone was off the entire night. I blocked his number, all social media, his friends and family on everything. I had my family block him as well. When he realized I blocked him the next day, he started calling me from unknown numbers and showed up to my place. I held strong and didn't answer or respond. He left voicemails claiming his phone has just died, and he was doing the work to earn back my trust. He was crying and begging me to unblock him. Yeah, right, I see him 3-4 nights a week, and it's almost always fully charged, yet when he's out with friends, it suddenly is always dead between 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. the next day. Really, he must think I'm a freaking idiot. I've begged him to keep his phone charged, but I realize he doesn't give a damn and just turns it off, and probably goes to see his hookers and Tinder dates, while I'm at home struggling to be mentally stable. My stomach feels like it's in knots. I truly loved him, and I'm really disappointed, depressed and ashamed that our relationship failed. I loved this man and did everything to make him happy. I cooked amazing meals for him, always dressed up, intimacy all the time, back rubs weekly, small gifts, and was always there for him. I'm considered conventionally attractive, and I'm in great shape. I'm also close to finishing my degree. I am just so disappointed. I really, really loved him, or the person I thought he was. We were about to sign a lease together before I discovered his double life, and thank God I did. I feel guilty for ghosting him, but I just can't deal with his half-assed attempts at reconciliation. Now for the top comments. Good work. You have to create consequences. Be strong. Thank you. I can get through this. Even if I can't believe it now. No need to feel guilty for ghosting someone who turned their phone off with zero regard for your feelings, which are the direct result of him disregarding your feelings hundreds of times in the past. You clearly care more about his feelings than he does yours. The silence is hard. The hardest part, in fact. You'll be tempted to falter, to reach out looking for the answers to the questions that torment you in your silence. Get a lifeline, someone to reach out to when you're at the bottom of that pit. It'll prove very useful in your recovery. But above all, keep your head up and stay strong. It took guts to do what you did, and that makes you brave. You'll look back and be proud of this moment, even if you're in the deepest pit of self-loathing at the moment. You got this. Thank you for your comment. I'm going to follow your advice. I'm packing a bag to stay at my mom's for a bit because, like you commented, the silence is just so deafening. I'm used to having him over most nights or FaceTiming me. My sister is coming down to spend spring break with me too in April. I feel like the ball in my stomach won't go away. I hope with time I'll look back and not feel regret. You read the situation absolutely correctly. There's no reconciliation, but the totally devoted kind. He's lost all rights to the victim card. Either he's on board with your terms, or he's not serious about beginning an effective reconciliation. Don't play the pick-me game. He should feel bad. He messed up big time. Not your job to fix that, it's his. If he doesn't see that now, nothing you can say would change it. Thanks for taking the time to comment. I feel pretty lonely, and reading the replies is helping a lot. I played the pick-me game really hard the first time around. I felt less than and tried to prove myself that I'm worthy of being loved. It's depressing looking back. I wished I left the first time around, but this is a definite learning experience. Your comment helped me put things in perspective. Much love to you. Story 2. Letting go was the best thing I could have done for myself. Little backstory: my ex-husband, who I was with for 5 years, had an affair with a co-worker and left me for her 3 weeks after we got married. He lied about it for months while sleeping with both of us. I had suspicions that he was cheating before he left me, and had asked him about it, and of course he was. So offended I could even think that. So I begged him to try couples therapy with me, because I didn't want to believe he would cheat. Until I found proof that it had been going on since before he left me. It was a truly terrible time for me. I felt so hurt and confused and just shattered. I was only 30 and was going to be divorced, and thought everyone would think there was something wrong with me. Eventually I started dating again, but actively hid the fact that I was going through a divorce out of shame, which I regret now, because having something like this done to you is not something to be ashamed about. We are literally victims of someone else's selfishness. We are the casualties. Through everything that happened, I ended up falling for someone I have been friends with for 10 years, even though neither of us had ever seen each other as anything more than platonic. He was there for me during my difficult times, and I realized I was developing feelings and didn't think about my ex when he was around. The first time we kissed felt like actual magic. It felt so right. We are about to celebrate 1 year of being together, and I realize this is it. This is what I was supposed to have. The connection, the respect, the unconditional love. If it took going through what I went through to be where I am now, for our timing to be right, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. And more than anything, I'm proud of myself. I let go and never looked back once I knew the truth. I finally let myself acknowledge that I deserve better. I deserve so much more than lies and cheating, let alone the years of emotional abuse I endured. What happened to me will always be a chapter in the book of my life, but I won't let it rewrite my whole story. Now for the comments. I am so happy for you that you found your way out of the darkness. You deserve only the best. Someone who loves you and cherishes and honors you. Happy for you. Some people don't want to hear that when you stay in a relationship with an unapologetic cheater, they victimize you when they cheat. You victimize yourself every moment of your time you continue to give them. Glad you are not doing that to yourself? Exactly. And I've been that girl so many times in the past. I refuse to let myself go through it again. I'm glad I took back my life. Awesome. You are totally right about the shame. It's so hard to get over the mindset. Even though all my friends would tell me I have nothing to be ashamed about, I just felt like people would still judge me. Eventually I realized that anyone who would judge me for that isn't worth my take anyway. I love this so much. I am so happy for you, and reading this gives me hope. You should have hope. You deserve so much more than what was given to you, and there are so many people out there who are also just as loyal as you are. Story 3. I walked in on my husband cheating on me last weekend, and now I'm a mess. My husband and I met when I was 17, and he was 22. We have been together for 16 years and married for 7. We have a daughter who is now 12 and a half. Last weekend he went out to meet up with work colleagues for a leaving party at the beach. They went out in the day, and around 5 p.m. he called asking to bring a few people back for a bit. I agreed. He came back with a guy and 2 girls he works with, and I sat downstairs with them for a while before going to bed as I had work early. They were all drinking and were pretty drunk. I told my husband to get them all to go as I had work and daughter had school in the morning. I fell asleep, but was woken up to them about 10 p.m. being noisy. Again, I messaged my husband, and he came upstairs. He said he was asking them to leave. I heard the door go about 11:30 p.m. and I woke up. I tried getting back to sleep, but couldn't and ended up going downstairs as husband wasn't in bed. I opened the living room door, and he was sat with his pants down with a girl he works with sat on top of him. They weren't having intercourse, but she had her pants down and so did he. I kicked her out of my house, not sure how I didn't punch her, and have pretty much felt sick since that moment. My husband was obviously drunk. The first thing he said was that her name? I've been off work since. I immediately told him I wanted a divorce and made him tell our daughter a toned-down version, so she understands why I'm so upset and why he's sleeping in the spare room. She hasn't spoken to him all week. The first few days all I did was cry. I couldn't believe he had done this, and in our home while we were both upstairs. I have spoken to him since, and I can see he really regrets it. He said that he was so drunk, he didn't know what was going on, but remembers seeing them all out of the house, so she must have come back in. I've checked his phone while he was sleeping, and there's nothing untoward on there. He says this girl repulses him, which I think makes it worse somehow. Now I feel like I have all of this pressure to decide basically what happens to our family. I have to decide whether I could move on from this or want to divorce him. This doesn't feel fair, and I'm constantly thinking about it. I'm not sure if I could get past the image I have to want to be intimate with him ever again. I'm also not sure I can be a single parent or afford to live without him. I'm just a mess. Now for the top advice. It sucks having to be the responsible adult because your husband decided to be a dirtbag, doesn't it? Especially when you're hurting and your whole world is falling apart. And he's just like, duh, I can't remember, duh. Who was I naked with, duh? Let me tell you how this plays out if you stay. He sees it as a pass. He's remorseful now, but if you don't get over it on his timeline, he gets angry. He throws it in your face that he can't even remember. What's your problem? You still have to see these co-workers. They'll know what happened. If he doesn't tell them, she will. Some will find it funny and laugh at your pain. Some will feel sorry for you that you were so humiliated. People will critique every aspect of you and your life and your family to determine why he did this, especially with a girl so repulsive. They'll talk about your body, they'll talk about the decor in your house, they'll theorize on what you're like in the bedroom and how it's probably your fault for being frigid or vanilla. You'll be expected to go to work events and socialize with these people and smile while you eat the crap sandwich and they gossip about you behind your back. You'll die inside a little more each time you learn something new about what they said, or your husband rolls his eyes at you and tells you to get over it. He was drunk. You won't be the mother to your daughter that you want to be because of the betrayal trauma. You won't feel safe. You'll try to verify things to make yourself feel safe and heal, and you'll be called paranoid and crazy for it. This is a brutal thing to go through, and I'm so sorry. I know how much it hurts. But if you stay and let him rug sweep it, this will destroy you. Even if you're open to reconciling later, you have to get out of this dynamic and away from these people. You have to save yourself and your child. Look up Champlity, read her book, read her blog, read the comments from other people who have lived it. Learn what false reconciliation is so you can see it if it's happening. Learn about betrayal trauma so you aren't surprised by what happens to you while you go through this. It's a hard road, but you can get through it and thrive. Well, I had to say this. I reread it several times because it is so well put and true. If you ask him if he was assaulted and to press charges, see what his reaction is. That could tell you a lot. That's absurd. It will never hold in a court or even at the police station. Feel no pressure. He made that choice when he decided to cheat. Being drunk is no excuse. If it's a case of actual violation, it's not his fault. But that doesn't mean you'll be able to stay. Exactly. I still need to work out if I can move past the image I walked in on. Whatever happened,